Good day all, welcome back to South Africa, and this is South African Prepper on the 30th of December 2022. So we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and we hope that 2023 will be much better than the last 2 years. So quite funnily enough, Lenin, one of the former Soviet Union presidents, actually said that society is 3 meals away from collapse. And then in 1974, Henry Kissinger, one of the secretaries of the United States, said using control of food as a weapon to induce population reduction. So, um, if you look at what happened in 2020, and with all the food supply chains issues, um, and food being distributed around the world that where literally it stopped, and you could only find certain things and people going out to buy toilet paper because they were scared of food shortages. It's quite fitting to say that food as a whole in the world is extremely important, and every type of civilization, doesn't matter where you are, if you're in Europe or America or even Africa, food is a basis, it's a foundation of any society. And it's quite interesting, if we look at the world as a whole, how food has been attacked, how farmers have been attacked especially the last 3 years since we had to wear this thing. And that's why it's quite important that when you are preparing, that you make sure that you not just prepare for short term. So having your dried food stored up, having your cans, having extra fuel, having extra seeds are all good. But that is what we call short term preparedness. Long term preparedness is all about firstly protecting your family or protecting an area, and then being able to sustain yourselves over a long period of time. And that means the production of food. That means the production of vegetables. That means the production of your grains. That means the production of different meats, whether it is chickens or beef or sheep or pigs. You need to be able to produce for the long term, because what we're seeing in the world now is that they are definitely attacking food. So one of our viewers had a request that we make a survival guide, type of a thing where when the power goes off permanently. Um, and I replied to this viewer and I said to them, this is an extremely tall order, because in a modern society, everything that we do revolves around power somehow, or electricity. Whether it is freezing your food for preservation, whether it is drying food for preservation, you use electricity for fuel pumping. So electricity and manufacturing, so electricity as a whole has become so much part of our lives that a lot of people can actually not survive without it. So to this viewer, unfortunately, we're not going to spend the time to write uh, 5,000 pages of how to survive when the power goes off. But what you can do, as being part of the preparedness community, is you can do a test run. So you can actually decide for 2 or 3 days. 72 hours is normally a good test. So what you do for 72 hours is you physically go switch off your own power. You go physically switch off your own water tap. You switch off your cell phone, and you decide not to drive to any store or shop to buy food. And then you see how you cope with that. Going without electricity for 3 days is quite a daunting thing. Um, and it is very interesting because a lot of people actually are not prepared for this. Yes, in South Africa, we've been having blackouts for more than 15 years and we've learned to cope with it. But to be very honest with you, to not have power for 3 days consecutively, we've had it before. it is a real challenge, and you have to really adapt. You have to really get away from certain comforts in order to make life actually bearable. So on that point, I want to thank everybody. Happy New Year. Be safe. Keep on preparing. Remember, the battle of the mind is the thing that you need to work on the most when it comes to being prepared. This is South African Prepper. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe.